Hello, Title Tribe. Welcome back to Friendly Fire, the show, the Toilets to Titles network, podcast network show that is brought to you 100% by Rival Fantasy. And you can see the link right there below me. Luckily, now that we're in YouTube's good graces, you can also see the link just above Rich's shoulder there in the top corner. That's join. There you go. Join right. Thank you, Vanna Rich. That's joinrival.com/title tribe. You guys are going to see us make some bets today. Different fun and different way of making bets for fantasy football purposes. And we're not going to talk too much about the bingo, which is extremely fun as well. But we've been playing a little game the last few weeks that is kind of taking a mind of its own. That I've got to play it again. I think I'm going to play it every time we do this show. But we're going to have to wait till next season after today, because today is the season finale of Friendly Fire. So unfortunately, my man Nate could not make it again tonight. His boys, man, are just wearing him out without how much they've been sick. Um, we've got Mr. Dr. Pepper up there. Rich, the Frito Bandito himself, is in the house. What's going on, Rich?
Hey, great. I was putting up Christmas lights today and got the first run up and everything blew out on it. Decided to freaking tear them all down and find out where the thing was, and I got to start all over tomorrow. Horrible.
Man, that sucks. Is it one of those things where, like, if one bulb goes out, the whole strand goes out?
Well, I changed it up this year. I'm trying to go new tech and everything. So it's those LED ones where it's no bulbs at all. You can change the colors and all that and everything. So I don't know what happened. I got to figure out what happened.
Man, hopefully it's not it wasn't your son down there messing with you.
Well, he was helping me, but we determined it wasn't him. So
what it was is his wife was in the house and she just kept hitting the circuit breaker to turn on.
she was at work, and the only reason why I'm doing this is because she's forcing me to do it because my neighbor across the street is freaking the Griswold, whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
Griswolds,
yep. Clark W. Griswold. Yeah, so you got to keep up with the Griswolds, man. Yeah, that other.
I'm glad.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm glad I live where I live. Like, you can't see my house from the main road because I live on a flag lot, so I don't have to put up Christmas lights or nothing because ain't nobody ever going to see them. So I don't care if the people in front of me put up Christmas lights. I don't care if the person behind me puts up Christmas lights. I ain't doing it.
well, the people behind you is just a swamp, isn't it? You got your neighbors behind you are just gators.
Now, so the way so I do live right next to a canal. So yes, there's a possibility that there is gators. But the way our flag lots are set up, I have a neighbor that lives up in front of me on the main road, and I've got one that lives behind me as well. But it's the people that live behind me, they're like in their 60s or 70s, so they're not going to be around much longer anyway.
Oh, well, that's nice. That talk about friendly fire. Jeez.
I mean, Father Time is undefeated. I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, if you want to pretend they're going to live forever, you can. But I'm just saying.
All right. Well, if they were subscribers to YouTube, they probably aren't anymore. But guys, we're making a run. We're making a push for 2,000 since we've been back in YouTube's algorithm and their good graces. We've made a hell of a run the last couple of days, and we're only, I believe, about 40 subscriptions away. Hopefully, even closer by the time this drops tomorrow night. But if y'all would help us out with the algorithm, send this show, if you're watching the show right now, share it with all your fantasy football groups, especially those that might want to have some interest in gambling on fantasy football in a totally different way. It's like I always say, this is the newest evolution of fantasy sports betting, and you guys can get in on it on the ground floor with us. But anyhow, I think George pretty much introduced himself, and he and I were fortunate enough to have some fun earlier tonight on TGIF, where we gave our season finale of the fantasy injury breakdown. Guys, it's kind of sad that we keep calling these all season finales because it's all kind of coming to a head, right?
I mean, we could do playoff. We could do playoff betting. Like, I'm down to do some playoff betting.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't know about making it a weekly episode though, because we have so much in store with the off season, the so-called off
Yeah.
season. I know most podcasts call it an off season, but we just call it overtime at Doyless and
I
Titles.
say
Um,
the off season where we do more work than we do during season. Yes, that's
Yep,
exactly right.
exactly right. So, now there's a couple of us that take some time off during this time. I know that to start off the off season, I usually take a little time to get caught up on schoolwork, and I'm going to do the same thing now. But that's because I'm more of the redraft guy. I'm more of the in season guy. Now, once we start getting into the free agencies, a lot of times I like to really dive into the contract negotiations and the free agent market. We've got Coach and Joe that's really pushing the draft, the NFL draft stuff, and then we have baseball. Spring baseball is going to be starting up, and we're going to be starting a baseball show, and that's also going to be a rival show. So that's going to be nice because there's going to be some rival bets there. So the real degenerates, like the three of us, might even make some guest appearances on those shows. And I don't know about you, but I don't even know baseball players, so that'll be fun. But
I know one baseball player. His name is Otani, and apparently he's a combination of Patrick Mahomes and Micah Parsons. I don't know anything about the guy. I couldn't tell you what he looked like. I couldn't point him out in a lineup, but he's all over Twitter today for some reason. I don't know.
yeah, I have a cousin. My cousin's stepson pitches for the Diamondbacks. I don't even remember his name. I don't know. I just don't know baseball. His name's Trey something. I forget. I don't know. But anyway, we're not talking baseball. We don't talk baseball yet. We're talking football, and we're talking rival fantasy football, rival bets. I want to share my screen here just to show you guys a quick rundown of my last week's bets. I'm waiting on this one because this is a bet for this week. Our buddy Oscar Duarte, Patreon longtime supporter, Yeti cooler winner, a lot of other stuff. You can say all kinds of good stuff about Duarte, but he sent me this bet. He just said that he wants to make a bet with me, Jalen Hurts or Dak Prescott, and he let me have my pick this week. Usually we try to let him pick, but he let me pick first. I went with Dak Prescott, and I don't think it's even going to be close personally, but I'm also a noted Eagles hater. So what do you guys think? Am I going to win this one, or does Oscar have me with Jalen?
I got the Eagles pulling it out, so I feel for them to do that, the game is going to have to be on Hurt's shoulders. So that's my prediction as far as how that game's going to go.
All right. Well, never mind. I didn't want your opinion. How about you, George?
I kind of like Dak Prescott on this bet right here, to be honest.
Okay. Well, that's the
Uh,
opinion I
if
was looking for.
if it was being played in Philadelphia, I might go Jalen Hurts, but because it's playing in Dallas, it's going to be close. I think I'll go Prescott.
Right on. Yeah, I felt like watching that entire game last time they played. It felt like the Cowboys just dominated the game for the most
They
part,
did.
aside from that first quarter, and just weird things weren't falling their way, and weird things were just popping up, like good luck type of stuff was falling into the lap of the Eagles. But that also could have been because I was looking at it with those hatred glasses for the Eagles. Which, by the way, guys, once Nick Sirianni is no longer a coach there, I'm going to stop hating on them. All right, it's really just a Sirianni thing. All right, don't at me because I hate the Eagles, because I really don't. Like when Andy Reid was there, I loved him. Everything was great, but it is what it is. Anyhow, last week's bets, I did not hit on any of my bingo cards here, but luckily they're only $1. So let's take a look at one of them real quick. So just to kind of show the people what they look like. We haven't looked at bingo cards for a while, but like this one right here, look how close I was to a diagonal bingo here. If my tight end, I had Travis Kelce, gotten 125 receiving yards, I would have hit bingo again, guys. Like, and then had I beaten bingo, I think it got up to like $1,200. I would have gotten a share of $1,200. However many people hit bingo that week, split the $1,200. Last time I won like $500 or $450 or something like that. So like it's a pretty big payout for just a $1 bet. And who would have thought, like, if you're going to choose a tight end to get 125 yards, you're usually going to choose Travis Kelce. I think he had like 83 and he had a bad game by his standards. So, I mean, pretty close. But that's kind of
if
what
Taylor Swift was there, he'd have hit it.
I thought she was.
I don't know.
I don't even think that's a point anymore. I think, look, Kelsey. I don't know if you guys seen Kelsey, just not the player he's been in the past couple of years. I mean, you can almost see it in his eyes and everything when they kind of filter that camera over to him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I agree.
We're witnessing the decline of the second greatest tight end in NFL history.
Second greatest. Who was the greatest?
Believe it or not, I'm going Rob Gronkowski.
Oh, I was going to say my brother Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah.
I got him at 3.
Yeah, I think you can make an argument for either of them as well. I don't know. Recency bias maybe for me to say Kelsey. And also, with the NFL rules the way they are now, giving all the favoritism to recent players on offense and kind of taking away the ability of the defense kind of makes me want to lean more towards Gonzalez on that end as well. But yeah, I don't think you would go wrong by saying any one of the three. Let's make a bet here. I just pulled up the challenges. I just clicked on the challenges here, and I see a bet right out the gate where somebody had taken Tyreek Hill against the Titans, and they're betting $3. And I'm going to go ahead and take the bet. I'll take Lamar against the Rams, and it doesn't let me do a custom bet, so I'm just going to go ahead and place 5 there, just to make the bet. Why not? But I left the challenges up because we're going to be doing social challenges again. These are social challenges that the three of us made. Oh, actually, let me go back and see if I can find some of those, because I don't think we were able to make them all necessarily, but I know, let's see, Jalen Hurts and Purdy, that was Oscar. He took $5 from me last week.
Look for the $1 ones.
Were they $1 bets?
Yeah, they're $1 bets.
Okay, so Jake Browning. It looks like I won this one. I went Jake Browning. Oh, this is the one where a quarterback did not start in week 1. I took Jake Browning. Who took Kyler?
I did.
That was
George. Okay, so yeah, I took him on that one by quite a margin actually.
Browning had a heck of a game.
And we couldn't find all of these bets afterward because not all the players were involved. But the kicker one that I did, something like kickers that are not currently in the playoff picture. That's what it was. And I actually lost. I don't lose a whole lot of kicker bets. So, but Rich went with his boy Carlson's brother. And had me by a point there. But I did win the one against Rich because he went Chase McLaughlin.
That's
George.
George. You guys took all my money last week.
But McLaughlin actually was a decent process with the matchup there. It's just it didn't fall your way. Gardner Minshew against Jake Browning. Who had Gardner?
You had I had Gardner, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So I won that one. Browning just had a really good game for me. What can I say? Bailey Zappi. This one.
I don't think that's the one of ours.
No, it was one of ours. It was me and you, but I don't think it was one from the show last week. I think we just made a little side bet here.
Yeah, you're right. Correct.
Yeah. I only took Joe. Oh, that's right, because it was a kind of an argument that you guys were having on Title Time, I think, and I said, Bailey Zappi isn't going to play the entire game. That was my concern, which he did end up playing the entire game. He just kind of had a bad game. Now, obviously, if this would have been Thursday night's points where he had 3 touchdowns in the first half, then I would have lost.
Yeah, he had an awesome game.
All right, let's make some fun little challenges here. So we'll start off with Rich's. Rich, your game that you chose this time. We'll tell the people what our category has to be here.
So, as we were talking earlier, we were texting what our categories, and I let you guys went ahead and chose yours. I was actually in the middle of cutting my hair. When I saw yours, I was like, you know what? I'm going to throw something out there to throw him a curveball. we had to pick a player from last week's game that scored less than 5 fantasy points.
Yeah, so but they had to have played last week, so I couldn't because my initial thought was to go and look for guys that were on bye, and which wasn't allowed. So, and honestly, I don't remember if there were any teams on bye last week. I don't think there were. They skipped a week, and then we have
no,
there was a lot of
there was like 6 teams on bye last week.
Raiders, Minnesota.
Okay, it was the week before because of Thanksgiving, right? Okay. All right, so Rich, it's your category. You start us, and then we go around the horn. So it would be me second. So Rich, who is your player that scored less than 5 fantasy points? This is PPR fantasy points last week that you think is gonna do the best this week.
Yeah, so I am going with the player. It's a rookie. I'll say this, and he's playing for a team that had another receiver last week that went off but got injured in the game. So it should filter to this gentleman. I'm going Jayden Reed with the Green Bay Packers. Christian Watson had a big game last week, and he pulled a hammy at the end of the game. Kind of pulled up in the middle of the field. Well, not in the field, as he was going out of the lines and everything. But with him out and stuff like that, I like Jayden Reed to step in that role and have a big game this week.
PPR points, Jayden Reed had 4 catches for 16 yards. That was 5.6.
We can allow it.
All right, I'll allow it because I still probably, even though he would have been high on my list, it's still not the guy that I would have taken. So I'll allow it.
Same here.
Oh yeah, you know what? I just saw 5 and wasn't even thinking about them. My bad.
No, you're good. I didn't look up that high, so I didn't see him. But you're good. It's a great pick. Don't get me wrong, great pick. But I probably still would not have taken him because my guy just had a really bad game. He's had kind of a bad stretch though, so I'm not super confident. And they're talking like he's going to lose a lot of carries because of how he's kind of been down. But the Chargers are going up against the Broncos, who are the absolute worst team in the league against running backs. And Austin Eckler had a really bad game last week and only scored 4.7 PPR points. So I'm going to go with Austin Eckler and hope that he has a big bounce back on several levels, because I also have him in a lot of redraft leagues where he's kind of been hurting me at his draft capital. Still been a decent enough guy for like a wide receiver, an RB2, like a low end RB2 most weeks or a high flex. And luckily I go RB heavy, so it hasn't hurt me a whole lot. But enough that it kind of ticks me off, But I'm going to go with Austin Eckler and hope he has a big bounce back this week.
That's a good choice.
And then George, what do you got, my man?
So the guy that I'm going to go with has only scored double-digit fantasy points one time all year. That was way in PPR leagues. That was way back in week 3, where he scored 12.7 points against Chicago. And then every other week, he's been under 5 points. But situations have changed. He is now moving up the depth chart, and he is now the starter this week for the Kansas City Chiefs because Isaiah Pacheco is no longer playing this week. So I'm gonna go with Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, that was the 4th guy on my list. I like it, and we talked about in the last show earlier on TGIF that I'm not really a big CEH fan, but with the opportunity, you got to take him. And honestly, the guy that I really wanted, but I really thought that Rich was going to take Eckler, so I wasn't expecting him to be there. The guy I really wanted was Josh Downs. Josh Downs is going up against Cincinnati. He only scored 4.4 last week. Cincinnati is 19th against wide receivers, but yet they have 2 of the better defensive backs in the league. The reason that they're 19th against wide receivers is because they give up so many points to slot receivers. And Josh Downs he's ran 75% of his routes from the slot position. He's actually ran the fourth most routes of any other wide receiver in the NFL from the slot position. He's like a true slot wide receiver, even though he's listed as the wide receiver 2 for the Colts. So I see Josh Downs having a big game. So anybody out there for fantasy purposes that are trying to make that decision, that start-sit decision between Downs and some other close similar guys, go with Downs.
So real quick before we jump in, I would just, as I was going through, I was going to type in one of these. Jaden Reed is not available to pick. So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to switch on the fly. And it was over that 5 points, that 6 and everything. I'm going to go, because he's not available, I'm going to go DeAndre Swift.
That was my number 3. That was the next guy I was going to mention. Yep, that's it.
Yep.
That's a good one. I don't like the matchup against Dallas, but last time he had almost 10 points against them in PPR. He's going to get the opportunity. So if he happens to get a touchdown, he's going to be mid-teens to maybe even upper teens. So yeah, that's a good pick.
So I sent both my challenges to both of you guys already, just so you know.
All right, excellent. So now I'm going to show the people how to accept those. I'm going to go to social challenge. It says for you, and it shows right there that George sent me the bet. He has CEH. I placed the $1 bet. Just like that. It's that simple. All right. The next category we have, let's see. I'll go with mine next. We have to choose for my category a running back that is listed as the RB2 on that team's depth chart. And now here's the caveat. If you choose, like, let's say you want Zach Moss because he's the RB2 for the Colts. Well, we already know that JT is out this week. If we know for sure that the RB1 is out already this week, then we can't choose the RB2. We would have to go with the RB3. So in other words, the RB2 for this week for their team. And I have first dibs here. So I wanted to make sure that I did not give George the opportunity to choose his own guy. I'm going with Devon Achane, who's listed as the RB2 behind Raheem Mostert. He has not the best matchup. Actually, it's probably one of the worst of matchup of the 3 I came up with. But like I said, I mostly just didn't want George to be able to take him. So Devon Achane of Georgia's Miami Dolphins is going to be my pick for this one.
And I feel like he was the clear number 1 pick in this category. Like I think you thought of a way. How can I get Devon Achane in here where he's a clear number 1 selection and make it so nobody else can get him? And then that's what you came up with was
nope, not at all. My plan. It just worked out that way. But I don't know that it's a clear number 1 actually, because I've got 2 others on my list that I think are pretty good, especially the second one. But George, you're next, so let's see if you take them.
All right. So after the clear number 1 was gone, because there is a absolute cut off, a teardrop, if you will, between the number 1 and who I have for number 2 and 3. So, but I want to pull up the schedule real quick. So I probably should have looked at the schedule before I ranked these guys. Actually, I know who they're playing. I need to find out who they are playing. Okay. So I'm going to go David Montgomery for mine.
All right. I thought David Montgomery was listed as the 1.
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to throw a yellow flag there.
Yeah, because I actually had to put Jahmyr Gibbs on my list.
Well, then I'll take. I'd rather have Jahmyr Gibbs, so I'll take Gibbs. That's fine.
Yeah,
you guys are gifting me Gibbs. That's fine.
Yeah, I'd rather have Gibbs also. That was the second guy I had on my list that I thought was pretty damn close to Achane.
So I want to just for clarity here. I'm pulling up the Lions depth chart, and I'm going to go with ESPN. Okay. Just to confirm, because I don't want somebody watching this and saying, Okay, so ESPN does have David Montgomery as the RB1. So
Yeah,
then
I
I
know
will
because that's what I use too.
yeah. So I'll go with Jameer Gibbs. Then I would rather have had Gibbs anyway. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
glad Rich is throwing flags. I will absolutely take that one.
And that's why I said I don't think it's a clear number one choice for HN. I think that
No,
those
it
two could
still
be.
is.
And then I think that there's a decent step back to my number 3, but after my
Yep.
number 3, it was all crap. So,
Yep.
so hopefully Rich chooses the right number 3 here.
Yeah, interesting. I have okay. So since you guys already picked, here's the candidates I have available, and I'm still looking at. Zach Charbonnet, Tyler Algier, and Keaton Mitchell are the 3 that I have listed after those top 2.
Okay, that's not who I had.
Who'd you have?
I have Jerick McKinnon down with Pacheco being out. He becomes the number 2. I mean, it's a deep dive. Don't get me wrong, but
No, I hear you.
I'm also not a big CEH fan, so I think McKinnon gets a lot of run in the passing game.
There's a good possibility he might not play, so that's the reason why he's not on my list.
McKinnon?
Yep.
Oh, well, I wasn't aware of that.
So it might be favorable to CEH.
Yeah, very.
Very favorable. I like that.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I still don't like CEH. I hate to say it, I just don't. So with that being the case, if I look at the Falcons are playing against the Buccaneers, so that's Algier against the Buccaneers. We got the Baltimore with Keaton Mitchell playing against the Rams. And we have Zach Charbonnet playing against the 49ers. If I had to pick from that gauntlet, I'm going to roll with Keaton Mitchell against the Rams.
Keaton Mitchell. All right. I like it.
It's not a bad choice either.
Yeah.
But let me verify if I could pick him.
Yeah. While you're trying to verify that, I'm gonna bring up George's category here. George, you said a quarterback that has started in less than 10 games this season.
Yes.
So you guys are really making me have to search here. Like mine was easy. You just had to look at depth charts. And most of us know who the number 1 is on most teams. So it wasn't even that difficult. You guys really made us had to do some research here. So yeah, did you confirm is Keaton Mitchell on there?
Yeah, he's on there.
All right.
He's on there. Because
So George,
I sent both of my challenges out to you guys as well already. Just
right
so
on.
you know.
Right on. You, George, you get to kick us off with this category. So who is your number 1 quarterback that started in less than 10 games this season?
Excuse me. So the guy that I'm going to go with, and I didn't go for a big flashy name. I didn't go for, the Kyler Murrays like I went with the quarterback for last week. The guy that I'm going to go with is, he's my age probably. I mean, he's got to be up at least in his close to his 40s, right? We're going to go with the Browns quarterback Joe Flacco.
Yep.
Wacko for Flacco.
Now, I will say that Flacco was number 5 on my list, but also I didn't really have anybody on my list in a set order. They're all 5 right about the same.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I went with 10 games is because we're not starting any normal starting quarterbacks at this point. Because I don't think any major quarterbacks outside of Kyler Murray, who's on a bye, is actually missed that many games to where we could kind of slide them in.
Well, and Flacco has the best matchup of all the quarterbacks I can find.
That's why I went Flacco
against Jacksonville, and with that, and if T-Law doesn't play this week, then they could have even better field possession too. All right, Rich, you're next up. Who's your quarterback?
I'm actually surprised George didn't go with this one, but it's Justin Fields.
That was when George said there was no real big starting quarterbacks that.
He's only played 9 games.
Yeah, he only started 9, so he does fit the bill. And that was a kind of a cheat code. So I was hoping
I
he would
forgot.
say,
I thought he played. I thought he played more than 10.
no, only 9. Well, he might have played in a 10th, but I know he only started in 9. Well, I guess with him, he would start every game that he. But yeah, it's only been 9. At least that's what I counted.
It is. It's 9. I verified that.
You had the wife get the calculator for you?
No.
All right. Well, all right. And again, Fields also has a really good matchup against that Detroit secondary. So, and in a position where they're going to have to throw a lot too, most likely, I would imagine. So there's 2 good options off the board. Now, all 3 of my other options are all right there neck and neck. The 3 options I have left that I'm debating between Jake Browning, Gardner Minshew, and Will Levis. I mean, I guess I may as well go with Gardner Minshew because he's played well the last couple of games. He's I mean, he's a Colt, so I'm already going to be rooting for him. So I guess I may as well hope that he can win me some money too. And I'm pretty confident I'm going to win the other 2 bets that we have. So this is just kind of helping you guys to not feel too bad about yourselves. So I'm gonna go with Minshew on this one.
Who were they? Let me see.
Minshew was on my list. So I had Minshew, Flacco, and Will Levis as my 3 quarterbacks that I had on my list.
I actually had one other on my list, and maybe it's not that bad. Maybe matchup wise, kind of took him out of your guys' range, but Tommy DeVito is another candidate that I had.
Well, that and he's the Giants quarterback. That also
that took him out of contention for me.
He did have a solid performance going into the bye.
He did. He did.
I feel like if they just ran the Wildcat and ran with no quarterback, that Barkley may be able to have more passing yards than DeVito in a game.
So, Justin, who'd you end up going with again?
Gardner Minshew.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So all of my bets are out. I done sent them to all of you.
And I've accepted all of them. I think the only one left is the one from Rich. I'm waiting.
I'm doing that one right now.
All right. So yeah, so this is a fun game. We'll probably continue to play this whenever the season picks back up. But for now, guys, man, I appreciate you coming on so much this season, especially this second half of the season here when we had to miss some episodes here and there. But it's been fun. I really want to thank Rival Fantasy for all that they've done for our brand. We're going to continue to work with Rival. We've been in negotiations for our new contract for some time, but things are looking really good with the new contract, especially like I said, we're already going to be doing some Major League Baseball stuff for them. We're talking about being in some kind of a network with them for the Expo in Canton. We're probably going to be doing some work for them there. And I'm really like the only thing that's really holding up the negotiations at this point is I'm being kind of greedy about merchandise. I really want a Rival shirt or hat. So we're kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to give unless I get that merchandise, Neil. I know you're watching. I know you're listening. You watch all the episodes, Neil. I need that Rival shirt, buddy. Let's make this happen.
Hey, Neil, because I know you're watching as well. First off, good luck with your kid this weekend with his basketball tournament. Also, DM me. I'll make Justin a shirt and get it over to him, and we'll call it done.
And Neil, just so you know, baby, Raider Nation right here.
Yeah, he's aware. He's aware.
Hey, I want to say one thing real quick.
Yes, sir.
And this goes to you guys and the rest of the T22 team and everything. This has been one of those years where we have come together and really support each other and stuff like that to help this brand grow. And here's a prime example. And you guys can't even count on your hands how many times between all of us, something's came up, we've been sick, and how we band together and jump on to support each other in each of our shows and everything. And that's the beautiful thing about T2T and everything is when one brother goes down, the next brother steps up and fills in and everything. And that's the one thing I love about this team and I love about our brand. And we're starting to see that even with our title tribe members and everything and stuff like that. It's beautiful the way to see what we got coming together and everything. So I wanted to say that.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Yep, it's been an incredible season. It's been a fun season, and we've been making power moves, and that's largely in part of our teamwork. And so yeah, very well said. It. George didn't even know that I needed somebody to fill in for Nate until we were recording the last show together earlier this evening. And then Rich, whenever George said that he would come on, and we set a time, I was like, well, I invited Rich last week and he didn't have to come. You didn't have to come again this week, but I knew you might want to, and here you are. So, just right along in the lines of what you were just saying. So, yeah, appreciate you guys. I appreciate all the team and all the new people too. We've had a few new guys that have really stepped up their game as well, and helped us with graphics and a lot of other stuff. It kind of helps motivate us to do what we have to on our part as well. So. But yeah, that's it, guys. Good luck in the playoffs. And if you need any rival advice or you want to continue to make rival bets throughout the season, we do have the Gilded Chat going on, free Gilded Chat for anybody that wants to join it. Over 200 people involved in the Gilded Chat, and there is a rival channel within the chat where we can place rival bets against each other. And whenever you see me talking my crap about Jalen Hurts and you don't like what I have to say, you can send me a rival bet one-on-one with another player. And chances are, if it's Hurts, I might even take it. I might be dumb enough to take it just out of pride. So, but just like the Dak Prescott bet I took with Oscar. But anyway, good luck at your playoffs and keep in touch this offseason, guys.